very good, so feel comfortable. I don't smell, I don't think. So at the beginning, if you have something you would like to say, a speech, spoken word, poetry, anything, while I'm wittering, please just come and let me know. So our first speaker here is someone who is a dear, cherished member of our community, who has got 2 degrees, who is super intelligent, who fights for the most oppressed people in the world day after day, and is just a beloved member of our community. So please give it up for Sammy.
Thank you. Although we are not many today, we will keep coming out. Sorry, I don't. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. The past 2 weeks have been horrible, but also the past 2.5 years have been extra horrible for many of us, but especially for the people in Palestine, for the people in Gaza. I think that the reason that I wanted to speak today was because all week, all I could think about was all I could think about for the past month is everybody who, when they announced the ceasefire, everybody who celebrated, thinking that they would survive, thinking that their at least bombs falling on top of them over their heads was at least going to be over. In just a week after the announcement of the ceasefire, we realized this was not going to be the case, as Israel kept violating the ceasefire, to the point where it not violated the ceasefire by the time it actually decided to fully break it, 996 times at least. This is why we keep coming out, and this is why we won't stop coming out, no matter what the leaders of the government say, no matter what Israel says it's going to do. We don't trust them. We don't trust any of them, because they've let so many people die. They've let so many people down, and we the people will not be a part of that. We the people will not be complicit to that. When people ask you why you're still coming out, if the governments are listening to us, at the very least, in a world that is designed for us to ignore, in a world that has been designed for us to look away, we know that the people standing here are refusing to. We know that the people standing here are going to keep refusing no matter what, and that we will keep coming out. We will keep refusing with everything that we can offer, with our bodies, with our minds, with our careers, with our education, everything we will put behind ending this. Not just in Palestine, but all over the world, because I refuse to live in a world where people's suffering is normalized. I refuse to live in a world where people around us try to not even look us in the eye because they can't look at the truth of what's happening in the world. We are not going to do that. We are going to keep talking. We're going to keep talking until each one of us has no more tongues, and at least each one of us cannot talk anymore. I, for one, will not stop talking. Last week, Israel killed, at the very least, 1,000 Palestinians in 5 days. Last week, Israel killed one of the journalists that announced the ceasefire to us. He announced the ceasefire believing that he and his family and his loved ones and his friends were all going to survive. And now, I'm seeing people in Gaza, in Palestine, I'm seeing people around us mourning their loved ones again. I'm waking up every day, like the rest of you, with my heart feeling dragged to the ground, because I know that when I was asleep in my warm bed, people have been getting bombed and people have been getting killed. I will not be a part of that. I don't care what world is we're going to build, but I'm not going to be in it if it's going to be built on the bodies of Palestinians, or anyone else for that matter. Thank you.
Give it up one more time for Sammy. So next up, again, if anybody who wants this to be a sort of an open mic thing, so if you've got something you want to say or something comes to you, please do come up and say it. So next up, we've got someone who I believe is speaking for the first time at one of these demos, another incredible member of Cardiff Youth Palestine who's put a lot of work in over the last year. Please give it up for Wellen.
It's my first time speaking at one of these. I usually speak at the smaller student demos. But I really wanted to speak today about a child in Gaza well, no, the child in the West Bank who died a few days ago. So for the first time in the history of the occupation, on the 24th of March, a child died inside an Israeli prison. His name was Walid Khalid Abdullah Ahmad, and he was 17 years old. Walid was walking in the yard, and when he became dizzy, he collapsed and hit his head on a railing. He was suffering from scabies and amoebic dysentery. The prison guards did not come to help when they were alerted, and other detained children had to carry his body to the yard gate. The prison have not released his cause of death, not even to the family. Walid was taken from his family during a raid in the middle of the night. He was beaten, kidnapped, abused, and locked in an Israeli prison, where he was fed meager portions of food, rotten food, and subjected to overcrowded, unsanitary conditions, while at the same time isolated completely from his family and community. The Accountability Program Director at Defense for Children International's Palestine branch has said that it is impossible to understate the urgency with which the international community must finally hold Israeli authorities accountable before more Palestinian children imprisoned in Israel's dungeons suffer Khalid's fate. Walid was the first child to die in an Israeli prison, but the 63rd detained person to die in Israeli detention since October 2023. Between 2000 and 2017, more than 12,000 Palestinian children had been detained. At the end of December 2024, 113 Palestinian children were being held in detention or prison on what they call security grounds. The most common charge levied against children in occupied Palestine is throwing rocks, a crime that is punishable by up to 20 years in military prison. Every time a Palestinian child throws a rock at a military vehicle, they are risking 20 years in prison. They are risking kidnap, torture, death. I want you all to remember the resilience and the sacrifice of these children whenever you hesitate to act. We owe it to these children to picket, to disrupt, to smash shit up, and to make noise. We owe it to them to act. We owe it to them to not marching isn't enough. I'm sorry, I'm glad everyone is here today, but it's not enough. We all can and should be throwing stones. Thank you.
Give it up again for Walid. And it is so important that we remember the children, and as James Baldwin said, the children everywhere are ours all of the time. And as Wellen said, a child died in an occupation prison. We have seen the horrors, the torture that political prisoners are going through. During one of the hostage releases where the IOF bust in hundreds of Palestinians who'd been tortured and released them, there was a woman who they interviewed, and she was a woman in her 80s, and she had traveled hours. She didn't know any of the detainees, but she said, "They are my sons. I am here because they are my children." And we must remember that those in Palestine, the children, the mothers and fathers, they are our siblings, and we must keep coming out every single day for liberation. So for our next speaker, it gives me a privilege to welcome them to Cardiff, our dear friend Aisha from Bangkok.
Hello everyone, thank you for letting me speak today. I want to talk about work that the Bangor encampment has done for months with Ahmed Faris in Gaza. Ahmed is 19 years old, and the majority of his 80-plus family has been martyred in the bombardment and the genocide that has been going on for over 500 days. He has been looking after 7 toddlers on his own, trying to feed them, clothe them, move them from Rafah to Khan Yunis to Mawasi and back. And his niece, 6-year-old Helena, had shrapnel in her shoulder, and she was we were able to raise enough funds to get her medically evacuated to Egypt. But unfortunately, she needed further medical evacuation and succumbed to her wounds in the end of January, one day before the ceasefire, and was martyred. Now the same exact thing is happening to his 4-year-old niece, Tulane. She has shrapnel in her back and spine and also needs to be medically evacuated to Egypt. He has around 4 days to a week to raise around $1,700 to get her medically evacuated. So I implore all of you here, if anyone here donated £2, that could make a huge difference in covering the cost of the evacuation. Even if you just come by us, take a photo, next share on social media, would really appreciate it. People right there in the back collecting cash donations, also has a QR code, so really appreciate it. As the encampment, we've also been working with a charity called Ebony's Voice, and our local volunteers basically have reached out to hosting families in Gaza, and I'm working on basically sharing their stories, sharing their GoFundMes, and trying to get people to see them and see what they're going through and how their voices be heard. So I also implore you to check ebonysvoice.org and see the brilliant work that they've been doing. They brought this sea status back, so that's really amazing. And being to the Bangor encampment, I've now moved here and we're still very involved with Bangor for Liberation, and so hopefully we'll be able to give you more updates on the work that's in the North, and have a better connection between North and South Wales as well. Please follow us at bangor.for.liberation, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you for giving me the chance to speak.
Give it up one more time for Aisha and the rep from Bangor. So next up, again, we've got someone else who is also speaking for the first time at one of these marches, and I think potentially the first time ever. So from Cymru Queers for Palestine, and an honorary student, kind of, basically. Please welcome Teddy.
So yeah, I've never done this before. I'm very nervous, but as we were walking, I saw a lot of people in their Welsh rugby shirts, right? And at that rugby game, they're going to sing the Welsh national anthem. And the first line of the Welsh national anthem, the My Hen Raif and Hadau, that means the old land of my fathers, okay? Welsh people, we go on and on and on about Mohid, we're still here, because it was hundreds of years ago and it's nowhere near what's happening to Palestinians right now. But they tried to wipe us out. They tried to wipe our language out, okay? And if we want to talk about the land of our fathers and we want to talk about our heritage, we need to acknowledge that the Palestinians are having the land of their fathers stolen from them right now. Palestinians have been there for hundreds of years. Like, we walk past a guy giving out leaflets saying that Jesus loves us. So you think he acknowledges that Jesus was Palestinian? I don't think he does. I didn't really know what I was going to say when I stood up here, but I want to address everybody that's not, people that aren't stood with us. Welsh rugby fans, Welsh people that might be listening, if you think you have Cymru in your blood and you don't care about Palestine, you should be fucking embarrassed. You should be embarrassed. We don't fucking claim you. Go read some history. That's all I gotta say. Sorry, thank you.
Give it up one more time for Teddy. That's their first speech at a march ever, and that was absolutely incredible. So that brings us to our last speaker of the day, my good friend and fellow suspended student, November.
Hi, hello. I'll try and make this quick. I just wanted to say it is so nice to see everyone here still after all this time. And it is great to come together like this, but I think we all need to get a lot more comfortable with being uncomfortable. I know that I and myself, it's becoming difficult to bring things up with people. When people are always brushing away or, oh, you're going to another march. We have to get more comfortable with saying, yes, this is still happening. There was a ceasefire and Israel broke it, and you need to come to this march with me. We all know so many people and are a part of so many communities which support each other in ways we probably don't even notice. Like, as humans, we are inherently social animals. We need each other for our lives. We all have people in our lives who aren't coming out. And it sucks, but we have to get better at having these conversations. We have to be able to say to our friends, actually, you need to show up more. And it sucks. It sucks so much, but you know what is awful? You know what? The worst thing in the world is happening to the Palestinians. I mean, we all know the stories, we are all seeing this. I open my phone and that's just on my phone. These are just conversations we're having. And it is uncomfortable, but we have to be able to look that in the eye. The way we've changed the chant from saying we are all Palestinians to we stand with Palestinians, I think is really important to acknowledge that a lot of us here are British. And as British people, our government is doing this in our name. Our government is doing this for us. Our government is, despite their claims, fighting a war on our behalf, which is wiping people out. And we have to be able to look that in the eye and look the people around us in the eye and say no more, that we are going to resist with everything we have. And that means uncomfortable conversations, and that means giving things up, and that means sacrifice. And at the end of the day, nothing that we could ever give up compares to what Palestinians have taken from them every single day. I'm saying this to myself, I'm saying this to everyone I know, like, we, as my comrades have been saying, you know, it's great to be marching, but marching isn't enough. And I think a lot of us are doing everything we can, and that is great. Everyone who's doing everything they can, thank you so much. What am I even saying? But love you, thank you. We are fighting a war, whether the government wants to acknowledge it or not, and we are fighting a war against our government. Sorry, the government. And yeah, we are fighting a war against our government, and that means we need everything we have. So thank you.
So one more thing before we finish. I didn't realise when she came up here. Aisha, how many of you saw the video out of Bangor University of a student trying to cross the stage with a Palestinian flag and got assaulted by police and bundled off and arrested? That was it! Give it up one more time for this incredible human being. I just want to say, all of us in Cardiff, we're here, we're going to stand by you, and we're so honoured that you could join us today.
Shame on Bangor University!
Bangor Uni, shame, shame!
Bangor Uni, shame, shame!
For all the crimes in your name!
For all the crimes in your name!
Bangor Uni, shame, shame!
Bangor Uni, shame,
For
shame!
all the crimes in your name!
For all the crimes in your name!
Bangor Uni, shame, shame!
Bangor Uni, shame, shame!
For all the crimes in your name!
For all the crimes in your name!
Give it up one more time for these two. So, unless there is anyone else who would like to speak, we've had a request to finish on with a little sing song. You know, it's a rugby day, we're Welsh, we love to sing. And we actually introduced us. Are we ready? Oh, viva, viva, la Palestina. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao.
Viva, viva, the Palestina. She'll be free from the river to the sea. Oh, viva, viva, the Palestina.
Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Viva, viva,
The Palestina.
she'll be free from the river to the sea.